Hope all is well. This short tutorial is going to be a quick review of the VLOOKUP, the DCOUNTA, and the DSUM in Microsoft Excel 2019. So we're going to use the VLOOKUP over here to find item numbers and a total price. We're going to use the DCOUNT to find the number of items sold in the youth department, and then the total of those items sold in the youth department. So I have a workbook here with some column headings and it's got some data. So our first step is to convert this to a table. So I'm going to click anywhere in this range of cells. I'm going to go to the Insert tab and I'm going to click on Table. The table dialog box comes up. It picks the range of cells for me, which is what I want. It checks to see if my table has headers. It does. So I'm going to click OK. And now my range of cells has been converted to a table. I can double click in between these to resize the cells, columns if needed, to make sure I can see the column headings. The first thing I want to do is find the total price. So to find the total price, I need to add the price plus the shipping. So we know that formulas begin with the equal sign. So I press equals, click in E2 plus F2. Now notice it doesn't use E2 and F2, it uses the actual names. These are called structured references, and that's what we use in a table. I'm going to click on Enter, and now with the flash fill feature in the table, it is updated every row or every item in that table. I'm also going to add a total row because I want to know the total of the total price column. So it's real simple. In the Table Design tab, I just click on Total Row. And now I have total, and I have the sum of the total price column. Okay, now let's get to the VLOOKUP table. I want to look up an item. I'm going to go ahead and change this to M1322. And rather than me search for it in the table, I'm going to ask Excel to do that for me using the VLOOKUP function. Now you can put the formula in manually. I think it's a lot easier to use the VLOOKUP dialog box. So I'm going to go to the Formulas tab, and I'm going to go to the Lookup and Reference button, and I'm going to scroll down till I find VLOOKUP, and there it is. So I click on it, and I get the VLOOKUP dialog box. And it's asking for the different function arguments, the different parts of the formula. Well, the lookup value is going to be cell J3. The table array, and this is where it can get confusing. The VLOOKUP starts at the leftmost column. So if I include the entire table, it's going to start here in column A. I want to look up the item number, so I'm going to start in column B. So I'm going to select from B2 over to G24. Now the column index is which column is it from that beginning column. Well, item number is my first column, so that's 1, 2, 3. So the column index is going to be the third one. And now the range lookup, I'm going to put false. When you put false, that means it's looking for an exact match. And then I'm going to click OK. And you can see that item number 1322 is a big lock. Now let's change it to 2105. And I'll hit the Enter key, and it's a go quick. So if I go through here manually and find 2105, there it is. It's a go quick. So the VLOOKUP allows us to very quickly find an item number. Now, if we want to find the total price, we're also going to use the VLOOKUP. So again, let's go to the Lookup and Reference button, click on VLOOKUP. Now the lookup value is going to be the same, J3. Our table array is going to be the same. But now in this one, I want total price of the item. So that would be column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, I'm going to put false because I want an exact match. $141. So if I look at 1322, it's a big lock and it's $141. So that's how we use the VLOOKUP to find a value in our table. Now, in the number sold department, sales by department, we want to find the number sold. In this case, we want to find it in the youth department. Now, the number sold, we're going to use a DCOUNTA. DCOUNT is limited to numbers. DCOUNTA, we can use numbers or text. So again, I'm going to use the dialog box. So the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to click on the insert function. And I'm going to get a dialog box that says search for a function. Well, I want a database function. So I click database and click on go. And it's going to pull up the recommended functions. Well, there's a DCOUNTA. So I'm going to double click on it. And now I get the DCOUNTA dialog box. Now this will be a little different. In the database, I'm going to pick my entire database. So the way I do that is you can see how the cursor is a down arrow, a horizontal arrow. I want it to be diagonal. When the arrow is diagonal, I'm going to double click. It selects my entire table. Now the field I want is the department. So I click on department. And then the criteria is going to be the department and youth. And so I click on that. And then I click on OK. And the number sold in that department is 9. There's 9 youth sales in our department. If I changed it to children's, and hit enter, there were 6 sold in the children's department. Let's go ahead and change it back to youth. So that's how we use the DCOUNTA. Now to find the total of the youth department, we don't want the total of everything. We just want the total of the youth department. So we're going to use the DSUM. So I'm going to go to the insert function again. And this time it came up, so I don't need to go through database. I'm just going to double click on DSUM. Now, what's the database? Well, it's the same database. So I get that diagonal arrow, I double click. What field? Well, I want the total price field. And then what's the criteria? Well, it's the department and youth. So I select those two again, I9 and I10, and then I click OK. And the total number of the 9 items sold in the youth department was $1,139. Again, I could change this to children's. And the 6 sold in the children's department totaled $567.98. So that's just a quick recap of the VLOOKUP, the DCOUNTA, and the DSUM. I hope that helps. Good luck.